Hi, this is Mass, and I'm bringing you another Conquest Battle Report. So this is round 3 of the tournament I played on the 25th, and I'm playing 100 Kingdoms into Wadhrun this time. This is against the same player that I've made a Battle Report on before, actually the first one. And so he's actually played into this list because this is all I've been showcasing recently. After this Battle Report, I am going to swap out the list. I'm going to be going into maybe some more Imperial Officer focused stuff, maybe into some Noble Lord. I've been looking at the Longbows in Noble Lord, his warband, and I kind of want to, play around with them, see, make them work, and try that out. But if you've been watching before, it's Prior Commander, Imperial Officer, Dynastic Alliance, so I get the Vanguard supremacy from the Imperial Officer. It allows me that third march when I come onto the table for all my infantry units. The first blessing is blessed to my Order of the Crimson Tower warbands. It's really just anything in the Prior Commander's warband, was just the Order of the Crimson Tower units. And the big takeaways is long lineage of the Prior Commander to get Ophelia's Roar for that +1 clash and +1 terrifying on the charge, putting up the clash 4 for the unit that he's in, and actually the Prior Commander to clash 5, it's very effective, and then giving them terrifying 2, which just destroys people's resolve. And then I have Armor Dominion and Standard of Steel onto the Imperial Officer, getting rid of Cleave and Smite for any stand that touches the Imperial Officer stand, and then also no Inspire into the unit. For the Retinue, Tac 3 gives me flanks, so I'm going to be having both the Imperial Officer Steel Legion coming onto the table, and then whatever else, usually it's the Prior Commanders and his Order of the Crimson Tower, because I got to get work done. A lot of players in my meta have started to catch on to what I'm doing, so it's been a little bit of an uphill battle. And also this player has played into this list before and has made changes accordingly. So you get to see how that goes. Let's go into his list now. He's playing Wadhrun. He's got a Matriarch Queen who is his Warlord. And the two things here is that he has To the Last Breath, but heals 4 wounds on anything that's on a monster within 8 inches of the Queen's stand. And the Monarch walks. We can just quickly have a look at the rules for that one. Down. Here we go. Gains the Fanatic special rule. So this is basically just allowing the Matron to get into tier 4 or tier 3 on the chance. I also think do Conquest because you need to be Fanatic to do Conquest. I'm not 100% on how chance work because I don't play with Wadhrun. I don't follow it that well, but someone might say otherwise. Back up to her. She is in Death. She's got Death Gaze and Mantle Devotion. Let's go just check those out. Death Gaze. P for dinosaur. Too far. Oh, well, it ended here, now it's over here. So she gives herself and the regiment Glorious Charge if there is more than 4 stands, so that's really good for getting impact slot. She'll be with those Braves, because she wants to heal and bring them back, and they're a really good unit to have it on. Mantle Devotion, on the other hand. MT. There we go. Gives the Fanatic special roll. Oh, look at that. That was easy. Combat 1, Conquest 1. Long Lineage to take that second artifact. For the Blooded, you got a 5-stand block of Blooded. They just got a Standard Bearer and a Champion. Champion gives them +1 attacks. They're doing a 7 attacks at Clash 2. I know he's chanted either Death or War, whatever one gives you +1 Clash. Give that to Clash 3, then Inspire to 4. So 7 attacks, that just starts melting through stuff. They don't have a very good Resolve or Defense stat at 2 and 3. 3 is okay, but they do have that Evasion 1 for that little extra. The Braves, on the other hand, they got the Standard Bearer and Champion, so they're going up to 5 attacks. They're Clash 2. They're really there just to be that Anvil unit in the list with the Monarch to give them healing so they stay around a lot longer. She also is taking 2 Apex Predators. These dinos are always fun. I always find it funny with them having 11 attacks and 12 health, because I always expect them to have 12, but it's 11. I'm like, oh, okay. Here we got the Predator. That's his second character for his list. He has the Kiss of the Dillosaur, what makes me re-roll successful defense rolls, which is really nice. He has Armor Pierce 1, so it's going to reduce my defense. So that combo is actually really good on him. Conquest 3 gives him flank. Marksman gives him more Barrage. Hunt 1, we can go check that out really quick. Hunt 1, where is it here? There's the Huntress. Where's Hunt 1? Where'd you go? Don't make me go back to the special rules. Don't make me go back to the other. There we go. Sure shot. Oh, there's sure shot. The original is considered a script by terrain when determining line of sight. That's really good. The Predator is going to be with one of the 2 units of Slingers who have Flint Nappers. Flint Nappers allow you to reroll 6s on volley actions. Slingers are really dangerous because they make you do Resolve from range at 18 inches, and they have the Torrential Fire special rule, so if you get within their effective range of 9, every hit they cause will double. So in this game, at one point, I do have 9 hits with doubles to 18, and then those hit all my armor, and then any of them do Resolve, and it's just really mean. It's not the greatest against Slingers. It's a rough unit to go into, and my opponent's running 2 of them. For mainstays in the Predator's Warband, he's got his Raptor Riders to be a fast, light cavalry, and the Hunters. All 4 of these are lights, so this is going to be on the table very early to establish board presence, while his Blooded and Braves are going to start getting into zones to contest and sit there, and his Apex Predators are going to be what's going to be the hammers for his anvils and start counter-deploying and doing counter-attacks and stuff. I'm going to slow roll these rules, and I'm going to go back to my rules and slow roll them so that if you want to pause at any time and just have a quick look at a rule in more detail that you see pop up, you're more than welcome to. I'm over onto my list now. Just scroll down the rules. There's my Armored Dominion that I talked about earlier, and also the past couple battle reports. Okay, let's go look at the scenario that we're going to be playing. Here we go. This match is going to be on Off Balance. So that has 2 12-inch zones that you're going to be getting 2 points for each, and then an additional 2 for each zone you capture. We have also, you have your 2 friendly zones, so I have my 2 friendly zones on my side. I'm just going to color this differently. There's my opponent's side, and then he has 2 his friendly objectives. For killing an objective, you're going to get 4 points, and then the last one is killing the Warlord is going to be another 2 points. So this scenario is all about scoring those zones and then getting into the back and killing those objectives. The problem I have with this scenario is that a lot of the fighting is kind of done around here, and you can't really sneak off per se. Like if you ran, I don't know, like Mountain Squires or even Household Knights, like something fast and light over tier into the back end to start getting into those objectives. Your opponent just counter deploys and then just kills it. Like it's not hard for your opponent to do that because they're so far back, and this battle in the middle is just going to be a rough one because, you have to break through and get to the other side, and if you've done that, you're winning the game. Let's go and look at our table, and I'll talk about terrain. Here's a table I'm playing today. So big notes on this table is that this right zone is protected by these 2 obstructions. They're just kind of, I believe they're size 2 or 3. You can't pass through them. And they just kind of hold there. There is a path on the right here to get into the zone, on the edge of the photo. And that's kind of where we go, because coming this way, you gotta have to hard bank and then go in, and that leaves your flank open to, myself coming in here and just, hitting them. Or the other way around, if I was coming in this way, and then my opponent comes in and hits me. It's kind of rough there, so this zone is very much going to be determined by this side right here, away from the rest of the battle, and how much resources we want to commit to that. Left zone's in a bit of a better spot. You got this garrison on the left here who takes up 5 stands, who can just basically sit in there and just shoot anything in the zone. And then we got the middle part of the tables. Something here, this right here is real bad for me. This terrain is hindering, dangerous. It removes my impact attacks, and the Crimson Towers have to charge to do damage. If I just charge, don't get my impact, and clash, I'm just running Veteran Men-at-Arms, and I'm paying way too many points. Fast Veteran Men-at-Arms, I'm paying way too many points for that. They need to do that damage, and this tree, this forest in the middle, really puts me on the back burner. My opponent actually played on this table the previous round, so he knows what's going to be going on here, and he's very aware of this middle piece of terrain, while I am not as much. And that does affect me on what I do later in the game. Another thing to talk about, like, this didn't really come up much, but it does split the table a bit. Like, these two buildings, same thing as the walls on the right here, they're just obstructing and, like, really tall, so it just determines our lines. So, like, you know, someone's going to be coming up here, someone's going to be coming here, he's going to be coming here. Like, it's kind of like our lanes of battle and travel through this scenario and map layout. And that's kind of what's going on there. Let's go look at end of turn 1. Here we go. This one, my opponent gets his flank from his predator, who he opted to put back a turn. He didn't want them out further because he knows I only have my one unit of Merc crossbows, and he thought, like, he didn't really need, he didn't need them on yet. Like, he wants to use them to counterplay the other stuff in my list, like the Men-at-Arms, but mostly the Steel Legion and the Crimson Towers, because he'll get damage out on those. So he chooses to flank them in next turn. He does bring in his Hunters over here, his Slingers, and then his Raptor Riders, and he's really, like, bringing that board protection and threat projecting. This kind of goes back to who shoots who. Like, these Slingers and these Merc crossbows are the same range, but Slingers are 1 speed faster. I'm trying to hide behind the woods here, but I don't know if I should have ran up this far. I probably should have, like, sit here, but I wanted to, like, get up there to start being effective, but, like, I'm gonna be pincered by his ranged options on either side wherever I go, and these Raptor Riders are gonna start making their way over here. So, these Merc crossbows, not in a good spot, kind of a giveaway unit to my opponent. I don't really get much done with them. And yeah, that's the end of turn 1. Let's go look at turn 2. Alright, here's turn 2. The things that happened are his 2 mediums come on, his Matriarch Green, and then his Slingers and his Predator come on. His Slingers and Predator are basically going to sit around here and just fire shots, protecting the zone, because he can't score it with the Predator because it's a light, but he can defend it and make sure that I don't score it. His Hunters come up, they're starting to project into my Merc crossbows and to this zone. As you can see on the right here, my Men-at-Arms come onto the table. They just ran up their 16 from the Vanguard from the Imperial Officer, and they're trying to get into the zone here. And the reason why I do that is because a lot of his list is deployed on this side of the table, and I don't want to just give him stuff for free. I want to try and get him to work for it. He does counter-deploy his Blooded to go, kill the Men-at-Arms and get into this fight, so I'm going to have to counter-deploy a unit of Steel Legion into here, and just help out, and then probably just sit in this zone. I don't super recall what my crossbows do. I think they might have... I know they shift over, because I didn't want to get, like, moved up from the Raptor Riders and then shot. Like, I believe he did a double run to get to this position, but he's just going to charge into me next turn and just kill them with crossbows. The Hunters are... moving up the table, doing that threat projection. Like, he's putting on that early board presence, and I'm losing space and options of where to put stuff and still be effective. Let's go look at turn 3. Here's the end of turn 3. So, things that happen. Men-at-Arms and Blooded get into the zone, and they're looking at each other. He's brought on one of his Apex Predators because he wants to counter-deploy whatever Steel Legion unit is coming on. I automatically bring my prior commander with his Crimson Tower and my Steel Legion down here, and then I rolled and got another Steel Legion in. So that's what I'm doing here. These two are going to fight over the zone. Steel Legion on the right here are going to, probably try and get into this Blooded, try and get into this Apex. Like, this is going to be a rough fight. Hunters, I believe, moved up, and I don't know. They might have just ran. I think they might have took some shots at the Crimson Towers, but I saved them all, or he just ran up to be in the way because I don't think he really wants my Crimson Towers to come up and then side charge the Blooded. Because that's going to be real bad for him, and that's then going to get the Crimson Towers into this Apex. But that's also meaning once they get there, I'm going to have to bring them all the way back around, and it's going to be a little rough there. I need the support. His slingers over here just start pelting the Steel Legion. Just the amount of attacks they have, and causing resolves does really hurt. This is 5 out of 6, so I lost a stand and 3 wounds right here. Like, that's 7 wounds in total. That's really bad. But next turn, like, my Steel Legion are just going to kill these Raptors. That's going to be a really easy one. My Crimson Towers are going to kill these Hunters. That's a really easy one. We got the fight over on the right that I've talked about. That's going to be real fun. And his Predator over here, he seems to have just either, like, dawdled it or didn't really move up much, but I think he's just waiting for that last unit of Crimson Towers to see where they go. He doesn't want to commit this yet, because he knows he knows that his Slingers are probably one of the best units of his entire faction, and keeping them alive longer into, like, later in the game just keeps helping him so much as the game goes on. Last thing I'd say is that the Braves and the Matriarch Queen are starting to make their way up, and they're going to start looking to start touching this zone to start scoring points. For points, my opponent does score the right zone because he has more Blooded than I have Men-at-Arms in it. But that's alright for now. Like, I can still get in there and start the fighting. Alright, let's go look at turn 4. Here is turn 4, and a bunch more stuff has happened. So one of the first things I did was I actually charged my Steel Legion into the Raptor Riders that sat here before, and just killed them all. They don't need to be around. I then get shot again by the Slingers here into the Steel Legion, because he understands the power and strength of the Steel Legion with the standard of Steel and the Armor Dominion. Like, he wants to kill me via range because he doesn't want me to use my special abilities and artifacts and heirlooms against him. Like, get rid of them now before you start losing a battle you don't want to fight. Like, don't play my game. So to kind of counter that, I do run my Crimson Towers just right up past the Steel Legion and become a wall in front of them to let them get up the table, hopefully unharassed. My Crimson Towers on the right side kill the Hunters here and then reform on the other side of this wall because I didn't want to get shot by this unit of Slingers and this unit of Slingers, and I want to hide because I don't want to get charged by the Braves either. I want to be effective. He, however, counter-deploys his Dino over here in the middle, and I gotta make a choice with my Crimson Towers. Like, who am I going into? I gotta be also really careful with this terrain feature because I'm gonna lose my impact attacks going through it, and there was a discussion, I don't know if this ever got cleared up with the judge, but supposedly, if you move through it, you lose your impact attacks just by, like, touching it, but I thought it was if you ended your, like, movement in it, because originally my next turn I was planning to move past it, then, charge the dinosaur, do a bunch of impact attacks, but supposedly I couldn't do that because, just touching this piece of terrain would have lost me my impact attacks. What really sucks for me. Not just being in it. Later on another turn, I do something else, and his dinosaur over here tries to do the same thing, and tries to get his impacts because it's like, oh, I started outside of it. And I'm like, no, man. you can't just, like, do that, because we've already agreed upon and established that, and that changed how I was going to play this game because of this terrain feature. So I'm either going to have to go back and reread the rules on terrain and really understand what is going on with hindering and dangerous terrain, because this is kind of the first time we've really been using it. And it does change up how my units are played and how I'm going to use them. On the right here, my Men-at-Arms decide I don't want to get charged first, so I just charge in first and just do some damage to the Blooded. I think I kill a stand, and then he just kills them to, like, 2 guys. I then... this is so dumb. I'm just sad. Okay. This Steel Legion. I'm like, oh, I'll just roll a 5. I have a reroll. I'll get in. I'm not super worried, but what I really should have done is I should have moved up. And the reason why I wanted to roll the 5, like, I didn't want to march charge, and that's what I should have done. I don't know why I'm being an idiot and not doing it, but I should have just march charged up, but I wanted to charge in there and fight some of the blooded and, start getting those kills. But I also didn't want the Apex here on the right to charge in and get me, because my original thought was like, oh, I'll just, move in here, but then the Apex is just going to come and hit me, and I don't want that. That's terrible. And I don't want to get charged by the blooded. It's kind of like that chicken. And so, for me in my head, you know what, I'm going to roll that 5, I'm going to get in, I'm going to kill the blooded, and then his Apex can come in, and, we'll duke it out from there. But I fail the roll, and I don't get in. With that, that's the end of turn 4. My opponent here scores this zone again for another 2 points, and we're going to be going to turn 5. Turn 5. Where do I want to start? Let's talk about this one for a bit. So, as you can see on the left here, there's a unit of Crimson Tower missing. So what happened is my Crimson Tower went, they charged the Slingers, killed them, then the Matron Queen, and I believe these Slingers on the left here, killed the Crimson Towers. I believe did I bless? I think I used my Supremacy on the Prior Commander to bless the unit to try and, make them more tanky. I'm not 100% sure. I do know I use it this game, but I'm recording this about a couple days later, so my memory's starting to get a little foggy. So they do. So my Crimson Towers do damage, and then I'm trying to roll a 4 with a reroll to get my Steel Legion into these guys to clash and kill them all. Except I roll double 1s and I don't get it. It really kind of sucks, but I did have the reroll. I probably could have march charged. There's a couple things I could have done, but a 4 rerolling is, I believe, a 75% chance getting in, and I took it and didn't get there. Over on the right side here, my Blooded and Men-at-Arms fight it out. He wins that fight. He's still scoring points on this zone. He now currently also on the left, I'll just talk about Center for a little bit, has 2 regiments of mediums into this zone, so he's scoring that one. So now he's getting 6 points a turn, so that's really good for him. My Steel Legion, I believe these guys try and roll another charge into these Blooded, and they needed a 3 with a reroll, and I failed that one as well. So his Dino then just charges impacts me. I don't know if this thing clashed, but it does a bunch more damage to me, as you can see right there. And it's just, I'm failing charge rolls right now, and some of them are kind of bad on my end, the 5 I probably shouldn't have gone for, I should just marched and ran in. But these smaller ones, I'm just getting into a rough spot, it's it feels bad. My Crimson Towers right here, swung into the Matron Queen. They can't do their impact attacks because of the terrain, but I still just swung in and did some clash, get some side hits. They're still benefiting from Terrifying, so that's reducing the resolve a little bit, getting that damage in. And I believe he activates his Matriarch Queen last and heals this backstand right here, and so they're still fighting. And at the end of turn 5, we're going to be going on to turn 6. Oh, before I go that, so this dinosaur in the back here, he just sits there. I don't know if he forgot it, or because he needed to march then charge to get in, and he didn't want to lose all his impacts to the train feature that we've been having a problem of, he just refused to. I don't recall 100% what happened there. But he does move later on. So we're going to be going on to turn 6 now. Here is turn 6, and there's a bit of a switch up of what's been going on. Well, we'll start on the right side. So, my Steel Legion kill his Apex Predator, and then his Blooded come in and charge the Steel Legion, reducing them down to 2 stands. So now it's these 4 stands versus these 2 stands. He's still in the zone right here, so he's still scoring it. However, I have gone over and finally got the charge of my Steel Legion, killed off his Matriarch Queen, but before I can activate my Crimson Towers, he does have his Dino come in. He just attacked. I think he just charged in. He just rolled it and got it, and then just, bit them all to death, especially in the back, and killed them all. So that's the end of my Crimson Towers, so he gains points for that. This is not a great spot, but this is where I'm talking about like this terrain coming into a problem later on, because at this point I can swing my Steel Legion and fight this Dino, or I can swing my Steel Legion and fight the Slinger unit, and I put more value in killing the Slinger unit right here than I do the Dinosaur, because I'm getting further away. He's not going to be able to impact attack me from this terrain feature, and I believe he's gonna march charge me just to get there so we can do the fight, and then we're gonna decide on like rolling off who goes first. And that's what I'm looking at right now. Alright, the end of turn 6, we're going to turn 7. Here is turn 7. My Steel Legion activate, and charge the Slingers, killing them all, and he gets his Dino out of the woods and into the Steel Legion, who I believe he might have got a clash out of that. Because you don't get to inspire from the woods, he's like clash 3, and also because of Standard of Steel and the Armored Dominion. And even if I'm re-rolling successes with Oblivious and Indomitable, I save a lot. So right now, what's left of that unit is just the one Stand of Steel Legion and the Imperial Officer who are fighting this dinosaur. My Steel Legion on the right then activate, and they slaughter this Blooded unit. So now their only choice is basically get into the zone, start scoring those points. I think he scores this because the dinosaur counts as 3, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that's the end of turn 7. Gonna go look at turn 8. Here we are at turn 8. On the right side, my Steel Legion just run into the zone. They're gonna start scoring that. His Dino attacks my Steel Legion, but before that I spin him around and fight back, not allowing him to get those morale, and also like at Clash 3 with the rest of them, because there's only there's 4 wounds before, but now there's down to 3. Like, him losing Inspire and him losing all his cleave has really neutered this dinosaur, and me going first and getting up to Bastion 4 is really saving the Steel Legion and dragging it through the last bit of the game. So we're just duking it out now, and it's really just who can kill who and then score those points, because he's gonna win if he doesn't if he keeps contesting that left zone, because he's up on points right now. But I'm sorry, but if I get to have a couple turns of just scoring 6 points from both zones, I will catch up to him very quickly, because we don't have very many points scored, because it's all about these 2 zones. Because both of us did not get our objectives here, wherever this one went, and here, and I believe there's another one. Who knows? This table's a mess. But you get the idea. Like, we didn't score our back-end objectives, so it's really just been a battle for the zone, so we're not scoring a ton of points. Alright, let's go look at turn 9. Here is turn 9. The Steel Legion, they got one guy left. I lived with one guy, and his six attacks plus leader for 7 plus the Imperial Officer finally killed the dinosaur, netting me both zones and scoring me the 6 points per turn. With that, because we still get to do all the other turns for me to just score points, I opt to leave both my units into the zone for turn 9 and 10 to just score. And I'll show you the score now just to see what we got. Here it is. Turn 10, 16, 16. It's a tie. We tied scores. My opponent has played into this list a bunch of times and really understands it. So he knows what he was looking for, and he knew what to counter, and he knew also not to just give me freebies. Don't throw up dinosaurs. I will take them and kill them. He wants to use them as hammers instead of anvils. And he played very well, and he played to his strengths. Like, he recognized he needed to keep his slingers alive as long as possible, because they're going to get a ton of work done as the game keeps going along and long. He knows that he has to get those hits off with the dinosaurs while whatever unit he's hitting is fighting the Braves or the Blooded. And overall, he did a fantastic job, like, assessing the threats that my list had and countering and applying the threats that his list had onto me. Like, he has 3 range options. I'm forced to come with him or just be pelted by an absurd amount of shots from these slingers. I'm not super concerned about the hunters. They're still strong, but the slingers are really deadly, and I have to be very careful with them. Overall, in the tournament, after these 3 games, I ended up with 3rd place, and it was a good time. Number 1 went to Nords, number 2 went to Dwag, I got third with 100 Kingdoms, and the funny thing is we had 400 Kingdom players, a Nord, a Wadrun, a Dweg, and a Spires player. And so I guess I'm the best 100 Kingdoms boy. Here you go. After that, we had our fourth place was the Spires player. I played in round 1. Then we had fifth place what was another 100 Kingdoms player who him and I collaborate actually quite a bit on what's good in 100 Kingdoms, what we're looking for, how to do combos and stuff. So him and I talk a lot about 100 Kingdoms whenever we're at the game store. Then we have, I believe, this Wadrun player, and then our other 200 Kingdoms players were fighting over to get that 7th and 8th spot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.